Hello, welcome to the Women's Network. I'm Elke and I'm your hostess. Again, I want to welcome you today to a wonderful, wonderful show. Very informative, exciting. So please don't go away, not even for a minute. Today, let's go to the wonderful world of dance. And by that I mean the world of ballet, and we go a step further. We go to the world of women in dance. Now, women in dance, we can even go further than that. I would like to explore the world of the ballerina, which is a very different world. I'm sure sorry, it's as exciting to you as it always has been to me. From when I was a little girl, I saw these beautiful, beautiful figure-like women dancing on stage, and they looked to me like porcelain, and I always wanted to be like one of them, except up to this point, I am one of the people looking in from the outside. But today, I would like to have you come with me. We want to explore the world from within, because I have a wonderful guest for you, and she will take you to the world of dance, the world of the ballerina, and many, many other directions you probably have never thought of. And let me introduce you to my guest, which is Patricia Stander. She has so much in her background that I can only tell you a little, because she literally has to explain and talk about it herself. First of all, she has danced with the world-renowned opera companies. She has been with the Royal Ballet. She has danced with one of the biggest dancers in the ballet field. She can tell us about balancing. She can talk to us about choreography and teaching. So let me introduce you to Patricia Stander. Hi,
Hello.
Patricia.
Hello,
So
Elke.
nice to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Talk about getting excited for a show. Today I really was excited. In fact, I was excited from the moment you said, yes, I will come as a guest. Patricia, I have your resume,
My life
newspaper
history.
clippings here. There is so much. I wish you could tell the audience a little bit about, in a nutshell, because we will go into it further, a little bit about yourself. I know you started to dance when you were quite young, from
Yeah.
what I understand, like 10 years old,
Mhm.
but just give it a little bit so then we can go from there.
All right, very briefly. I started in the most unlikely place in the world, which is where I was born, in the middle of Africa. In what is now Zimbabwe was Rhodesia. And an interesting statistic about that fact is that though the entire population was only 8,250,000, the the school out of which I emanated has produced something like 27 major dancers for the Royal Ballet, for the Festival Ballet, for the Stuttgart Ballet, out of that little country. So obviously we had a good teacher. And I started at 10, which is late for a child. Normally you start them about 8, 10, because my feet were absolutely so flat that they went under the floorboards. You know, I didn't walk across the top of them, they were under the floorboards. And the doctor said to my mother, I think she has to dance, that's the only thing. Now when I'm teaching now, when I tell my students this, they look at me and you can see their faces and they say, liar, you know, liar. But it's absolutely true. That's why I started dancing, because my grandmother was a brilliant pianist, and my father wanted me to do several things. He wanted me to compete in the Olympics, he wanted me to swim the channel, and he wanted me to be a concert pianist.
Well, he had high hopes right from the beginning.
I did 2 of them. I didn't compete in the Olympics, and I didn't swim the channel. I did become a pianist, and at a certain age, I had to make the decision about whether I would go on with my career as a dancer, or whether I would continue as a classical pianist. And a wonderful man with whom I did my last licentiate of the Royal Academy music exams, brilliant pianist called Claudia Aro, said to me, darling, little hands, it's better you have little feet. Dance, don't play. Because my hands were, you know, I could reach an octave plus, but that would limit severely my career as a concert pianist. So the little feet did it instead.
You have a little picture. Are those your little feet?
I think
You
there's a
brought
picture of
along?
my little feet somewhere here.
So you really had a decision to make when you were quite young.
Can't find them.
Can't
They
find
were
them.
here.
Can't find.
Can't find them.
So therefore, little feet of little picture. Well, from then on,
There we
there
are.
they
Wait a
are.
minute.
There
There
they
are
are.
little feet.
Those are
In
my
leg
God.
warmers and sweats. I don't know if can you see those? Can you get those?
Maybe I can bring them up.
Actually,
Those
there are better ones of my little feet,
Those
but
are.
that's studio
This
work.
is a perfect picture of ballet, or we see a lot of posters
Yes.
of worn out shoes, worn out feet, worn out
Right,
leggings,
right,
whatever.
right.
Okay, this is how Patricia started on her dancing
On my
her
flat
little
feet, yes.
until I'm sure at the end of the show we show, we go on from those little feet.
Well, there was a
we
long, long
turn
time between
into,
those little feet and that.
we turned into quite a beautiful scene here.
See, there's your image.
Right,
All
exactly.
The
that
great
was
skirts and
that was my image of the ballerina, per se. And here we have another one, getting a little glare, but I'm sure we can all make it out. God, this is beautiful. Tell us a little bit about this picture.
Well, this picture is, I love this picture because this photograph was taken after I retired the first time. I retired twice. And I was actually doing a photo shoot for one of my students, a girl called Yoko Ichino, who became a major principal dancer in America and is still with National Ballet of Canada. And the photographer said, "Oh, I would love to photograph you." And I said, "Dream on." He said, "No, let me photograph you now." I said, "Come on, I haven't danced in 6 years." So he kept on, and I said, "Oh, all right." So I borrowed somebody's shoes and borrowed a costume, found something to lean on and stuck my leg in the air, and that was the result.
Yeah, well, a beautiful, beautiful picture. But tell me a little bit about the ballerina. We have dancers, like in the chorus line, we have a lot of women in the chorus line, but there's always that one. And in ballet, let's talk about the ballerina.
The ballerina. Now, you know, it's very strange. In this country, every child who dances is immediately called a ballerina.
Right.
Being European, that bothers me always because they're not ballerinas. The title of ballerina is a title that when I was dancing was given to you, was bestowed upon you by your company, by your opera house, by your peers, not something that you decided to call yourself. Children are children, and they're students until they become graduate students. Then when they join a company, they usually go into the corps de ballet unless they have an extraordinary talent. That extraordinary talent is not to say that the corps de ballet dancers are not terribly talented, because many, many great principal dancers, great ballerinas, have worked through the ranks, through the corps de ballet, and I believe in that. But perhaps, let's say, somebody who is so unique in their style, in their talent, and one immediately comes to mind, Gelsey Kirkland,
Yes.
who was endowed with this exquisite and extraordinary talent and this absolute madness. You couldn't put Gelsey in a corps. She stuck out like a sore thumb. And a corps de ballet, the dancers in a corps de ballet are the uniformity of it. That's one of the great beauties of the corps de ballet. And the ballerina is what we call in this country, we refer to them as principal dancers of the company. So you have corps de ballet, demi-soloist, soloist, then ballerina, and then if the world truly acknowledges you, then you're ballerina assoluto.
Right.
Makarova, for instance, Natalia Makarova, and my beloved Margot Fontaine, Yulanova, Plisetskaya, and Alicia Alonso. But there are not really many of those ballerina assolutos, and it's not, the title is given to them beyond the title of ballerina, not just because of their dancing, but because of their dancing, what they bring to the art by encompassing the entire world.
Yes.
People like Margot Fontaine-Nureyev, Pavlova in her day, Nijinsky, Alonso, Ulanova, Plisetskaya. These people had reached out and made their names synonymous with ballet and ballet synonymous with their names. Misha Baryshnikov, Nureyev, in Nigeria, in Lagos, Nigeria, they know who Margot Fontaine is,
Yeah.
or was, God rest her soul, Nureyev. Those are the assolutos, because along with it comes such an enormous career that
Exactly.
it becomes a universal thing as opposed to being limited to the art.
Right.
Yeah, superstars, I think you call them.
Patricia, the word ballerina, a little bit research I took, and in that research it says the ballerina is the figure who is traditionally the pinnacle of the ballet. The dance in its most refined, elitist forms. Now, in another backup, I read that at this point, the ballerina has stepped back a little bit because the male dancer is emerging. On the other hand, what would a male dancer be without the ballerina, unless it's strictly a male-oriented play? But here we have these beautiful plays like Swan Lake, Sleeping Beauty. Let me hear a little bit about.
Okay, in the classics, it's an interesting point, and it bespeaks also of the state of the art. For many years, the male dancer, there was a period of time when the male dancer was regarded as somebody nothing more or less than the weightlifter who spent his time underneath, carrying ballerina around. In fact, Frederick Franklin, my son's laughing here because he knows. Freddie Franklin, the title of Freddie Franklin's autobiography was 22 Years Under a Tutu, because, when you're lifting the ballerina up, most of what you see is a lot of frills and a lot of and that became sort of the image of the male dancer. But it hasn't always been like that. It goes through periods. Excuse me. When Nijinsky was dancing with Kasavina and with Pavlova, though they danced only twice together, the marriage of that incredible union of Nijinsky and Kasavina had the kind of magic that the marriage of Fontaine and Nureyev, Baryshnikov and Makarova together. I don't believe that in the classics, in the classical ballet, the Swan Lakes, the Giselles, I don't think anything should be pinnacled around the ballerina or around the male, because most of the great classic ballets are fairy tales, as symbolic fairy tales, analogies, if you will, about good, about evil, about love, man and woman. And if one dancer is the pinnacle, then something is out of kilter.
I see, yes.
Do you know, the balance is not there. When you dance with a male dancer, I mean, he is the love of your life,
Right.
or the horror of your life, depending on what the character is at that particular moment.
Yeah.
But if that contact isn't there, if the two of you are not together, pas de deux is the famous dance of two people. Now, it can be a man and a woman, and a man and a man, and a woman and a woman, and whatever.
Right.
But it must be very equally balanced, otherwise the essence of artistry is not there, and it becomes a competition of personalities. And when you see great dancing on the stage and you say, oh, wasn't the ballerina wonderful, or wasn't he wonderful, you know something is not quite right, because what you should be saying is,
Aren't
my
they
God, they were so
beautiful, right.
wonderful.
Right.
Do you know?
Right. And you should pick up the chemistry between the two, I believe.
Absolutely.
Patricia, you said you brought a couple tapes.
I did. I brought a lot of tapes.
Do
What would
we
you like
have
to see?
something wonderful to see you dance?
No.
You don't?
No, all the videos that I believe there are of me are still in England.
Okay.
I do have
What do
some
we have?
interesting things. All right, let me and then you can choose.
Okay.
I brought a little bit of the last performance of the company, San Diego Ballet, which I directed, which Roland danced in. And I also brought a photograph about it, because you asked me the other night about the glamorous life of the ballet.
Yeah.
And you see, at this point, I was no longer dancing, I was directing.
Well,
If we could find that little bit of Paradis, Raymonde Paradis,
okay.
and I will tell you the story about this. This photograph, now, I was directing San Diego Ballet at this point, and this was, this is a photograph of the last performance, which was done in Balboa Park, and it was a sort of gala festival. And about 25 minutes before the performance, the wardrobe mistress came to me in a total panic. It seems that she could not find the dress, the costume, for one of the dancers, Teresa Bacall, for a ballet that preceded this.
I see. I see.
Okay?
Okay.
So we searched, they couldn't, they went back to the studios, they went back to the wardrobe, they couldn't find the costume. I happened to be wearing that day a red silk chiffon dress. One of the dancers, I said to any of the dancers, does anybody have a skirt? And one girl said, yes, I do. She was taller than me, Linda Kimura. I took off my red dress, put it on the dancer, and in this photograph, I am wearing somebody's skirt, which I then took
Right.
and belted and shoved something and put a pin, and this is the end result of the film, the photograph, and I'm very fond of that
Maybe we can get a
because
real close-up.
when somebody says, "Oh, artistic director of a company," it sounds so glamorous and sounds so wonderful.
Like
Believe me,
here.
the situations well, it was Therese. Yes, this is the
Yeah.
Linda Kimura's skirt,
Okay.
which I have managed to somehow or other turn into a dress, while the dancer to the
Well,
back of me was the girl who wore my dress and thoroughly ruined it, I might add it.
well, let's see a little bit of tape. And why
Okay.
don't you explain the tape while it's
This is the opening scene of the ballet.
if we're ready.
From Raymonde, it's a section of the ballet, and it's commonly referred to as the pas de 10, the dance for 5 dancers.
Okay.
And Balanchine choreography.
All right, let's go.
We have sound. All right.
So you directed this.
I directed this, yes.
God, what a, what a.
Well, I directed a number of companies.
You,
And
you directed, you choreographed. Now,
Yes.
what do you do now? I mean, are you still dancing a little bit, or
No.
are you?
no, I mean, I point my foot once in a while and I shove my leg in the air. And I don't let anybody see that it doesn't go up as quite as high as it used to.
I'm sure it will.
I started a marvelous company. Actually, it came out of a very interesting situation. A company called Ballet Galaxy, and there's never been one like it, and I don't know that there'll ever be one again quite like it.
Now, why is it? What's the difference?
Well, the difference was this. It was not, it was, in polite terms, it was a pickup company. By that, I mean, every time the company went on tour, it gathered the dancers together. We rehearsed together, and then we went out to perform. But what was unique about it was that it was populated, if that is the word, by probably a collection of the greatest dancers dancing in the world. I took all the major ballerinas, principal dancers, male and female, from every major company in the world, and we took this company with a very diversified repertoire to countries where they would never otherwise be seen. We went to China. I went into China very shortly after the borders were still first opened. We went all over Europe. We danced in America, and out of that also was the young stars of the American Ballet Theatre, our national ballet company here in America. I say ours because I am an American citizen now, and I'm very proud of it. But Ballet Galaxy was absolutely extraordinary in that we had such an array of artists. I could never put them together again. I was going to bring you a poster, but I didn't because it was a bit blurry. But it is a poster from the first performance, the premiere performance of Palm Beach Festival of the Arts. And Ballet Galaxy created a special program for this, and there was Gelsey Kirkland and John Meehan and Marcia Heide and Richard Cragen and Peter Martins and Suzanne Farrell and old Frank, every name you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, how wonderful. Patricia, I don't want to interrupt you because we can go on
I
and
know,
on and on, but
I
I
know.
want you to show us a couple more clips because
Yes.
I know you're involved in
Teaching. All right.
And,
Roland, if you could find darling, the tape of Roseanne Bravin, this young lady, I wasn't responsible for her total training, Music Center Awards, and it's all queued up to go, but she came, for her early training, but she came down to me about a year and a half ago, and I started coaching her, and she was entered in the Music Center competitions, and she won. And she's now with Joffrey Ballet. And this is a little bit of tape of Roseanne at 17.
great, because I also want you to explain to the audience what it takes to become a ballerina. I mean, what it takes
I can
for
do
a little
that very
girl.
quickly.
Explain a little bit.
I can do
But
that
let's
very
see the
quickly.
clip first and see this wonderful new talent.
Well, she's
I
talking.
think my
Maybe you
dream
want
right
to
now
zip through this
is
a
to be
little while
successful in dance. It's always what I wanted to be, a little ballerina on stage. I mean, the vision's changed over the years as the reality of it has hit home. You know, it's not all fun and games, it's a lot of work. But the dream is, to be out there on stage by yourself, looking wonderful, having people, wildly applauding and crying in their seats. And I think that's what every dancer or performer wants. I've learned so many things from dance, through the experiences in dance. I've learned tenaciousness to stick to what I wanted to do. Once you start to dance and you start learning the classes and you start learning the technique and you enjoy it, I mean, that's part of it. Once the enjoyment goes out of it, it's not dance anymore, it's just work. So anyone who dances needs to enjoy themselves because that's what it's all about.
Now, you asked me a question for every little girl.
Right.
The number of years of training are the rest of your life. You never stop training. It is a lot of work, but it is the most rewarding thing. It teaches you character. It makes you strong. It teaches you discipline. It teaches you regard and respect for others. And I think there's a very deeply, deeply spiritual side to all the arts. And a child has the opportunity to manifest their communication through dancing. That's what it takes, but it's mostly years and years and years of hard work.
Oh, I'm sure. I can't even imagine. A lot of dancers don't even get that far. They just sort of stand still at one point. But to become this top of the pyramid, I'm sure there is a special talent to it too.
Well, it's a special talent and a special need. Not everybody has the same need, There is a life outside of dance. But if you really can't, as Nureyev once said, if I can't dance, I can't live, then you get there.
Right. Are we going to see another clip?
Well, Roseanne was dancing on that. I queued it up. Go to the Bretta Sheeda tape, darling. This is another little girl of mine who's just gone now to New York City Ballet. I didn't train her in the early days either, but I have been coaching her now for a year, and I think this girl has got an enormously special talent.
Okay, while they are queuing up the tape,
Right.
let me ask you a couple more questions. There's talk about between the Russian dancer and the European dancer and the modern dancer and what is the difference? I mean, isn't a dancer or
Style,
a ballerina?
nearly style. Style and training. Now, this little girl really reflects the real classical Russian training, as does Roseanne, I think. But it's style. Every dancer who dances looks better for ballet training, and this you will hear from the modernists, Martha Graham, La Lubavitch, Peter Peter Anastas, thank you, darling. All the great modern choreographers. Now, Twyla Tharp, for instance, they all love to work with ballet dancers. Now, ballet dancers may have a little more difficulty getting into the style of the moderns, but the fact that they're training and the line of the body always looks better, whatever you do. I don't know why it is, but it's true.
Okay.
Anyway, that tape is ready? Yes.
Okay.
We can look.
God, it's
She's
beautiful.
17. Isn't she gorgeous?
17.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
I have a feeling she is going to go places.
Absolutely. She's
And I
she's
hope-
what I call a monster. She's one of my monsters.
Oh,
I have a
yeah.
few of them.
And I hope they will have a great partner for her.
I have also a wonderful girl that I started working 5 years ago, and she's now with the Royal Winnipeg, and I've got babies coming up as well, little ones. So maybe in a couple of years I'll come back and show you the babies going.
Well, give me like 3 or 4 great names of now.
Of now?
Right. Like we had Margaret Fontaine, we had Marakova, we had
Makarova.
Makarova, Pavlova.
Of great names of now. Hananashvili, she's Russian. In England we have a wonderful girl called Darcy Bustle. We have Sylvia Guillem, who is a monster talent and an extraordinary dancer from the Paris Opera. Ballet theatre, we have Amanda McCarroll, who did her first professional engagement for me with Stars of the American Ballet just after she won the gold medal in Moscow, and for Stars of the American Ballet Tour, actually. And I could go on and on
Yeah,
and
I
on and
know.
on. Susan
Because I want to
Jaffe.
ask you one more quick question. Give me about 3 beautiful ballets that are strictly female ballerina, women ballets. Like I'm thinking about Swan Lake, for instance.
Swan Lake?
Let's say
Yes.
the audience, if they
Well,
should
it's
go out and
particularly
see
Swan.
something.
Well, Swan Lake, no, I mean the Swan, yes, because of the white, what we refer
Right,
to
I
as the
guess
white ballets.
It's
Les
my vision
Sophies,
again. I don't.
Swan Lake, Giselle, Sleeping Beauty, Paquita Variations,
There's so much. Patricia, I'm looking at the clock, and we are literally running out of time. You have to come back because I have a list.
I got to come back. Look at all this garbage I brought with me.
And I want to show your. This is just so wonderful. I have to show it. And this is Patricia Stander. This is in
Curtain
explain
call.
this a bit.
It's a curtain call, and
let's get
from a
real-
contemporary
real
ballet.
great close-up of this.
Yeah.
Because this is a beauty. And if we can get it really focused up, there, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So this is a curtain call at one of your...
At the Opera House in Paris.
At the Opera House in Paris. And which ballet was this?
It was in Daphnis and Chloe.
God, this is absolutely...
Ashton, our
absolutely-
beloved Frederick Ashton.
Well, with that, unfortunately, I have to take it down. Patricia, you were a most wonderful guest. Very, very exciting. I wish we could talk more, have another hour or 3 or 5.
Well, if you let me come back, then I won't
I
talk
will.
about me, but I'd like to talk about other dancers.
Exactly, because there's so
Yes.
much more to it. You just can't do it.
Talk to you about Suzanne Farrell and what a great
in half
gift
an
she has
hour.
been to America, etc.
Thank
Okay.
you so
Thank
much
you.
for being
Thank you
here.
very
And
much.
again, it was very exciting.
Thank you.
And to all my viewers out there, I hope you had as much fun as I did. I just thought it was exciting, and my insight started to roll again, and I see what I was little girl, I saw the ballerina on stage, and there
And
you
tell
are.
everybody to come to support the ballet. Support
Yes,
the
and
ballet.
support the ballet. We really need a little bit more art in our life.
A lot.
A lot. Okay. All right. Well, with that in mind, unfortunately, we have to come to an end. And again, I want to thank Patricia Stander for being such a wonderful guest, and I want to thank all of you for watching us. And until I see you again, bye-bye. And
Thank
bye-bye,
you.
and thank
Thank
you
you.
again. It was just wonderful.
Thank you.
See, this whole world of dance just gets me rolling. It's just